Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm extremely happy to be participating in this session of the Research and Innovation Days with very distinguished colleagues along myself. Um, this is one of the most important weeks for research and innovation, and I'm really happy to be able to talk with my distinguished colleagues about a very important novelty of Horizon Europe program. This is the European missions. These are new tools that are designed to address the biggest challenges that we are facing as a society. And the idea is to bring about changes that are essential to everyone and previously might have been thought as impossible. But no mission is impossible. If millions of Europeans, if all of us join forces and work together to find bold solutions across sectors. The EU missions are rooted actually in research and innovation, but they are deemed to go much far beyond. They are deemed to mobilize resources to engage all Europeans and make them part of the solution to ensure lasting impacts and outcomes. EU missions are not about what the EU can do for its citizens, it is about what we can do together to shape the future we want to live in. The ambition of the candidate mission that we are going to talk today, this is the mission Ocean, Seas and Waters. The ambition there is to come together in one team Europe. The idea is to restore by 2030, quite ambitious date, one of our most precious common goods, and these are our oceans and waters. It will deliver, of course, on our big political agenda. It will deliver on the European Green Deal targets for protecting and restoring ecosystems and biodiversity. It will contribute also with achievements for zero pollution, but also for achieving a carbon neutral and circular blue economy. The mission should also contribute to a stronger Europe in the world because oceans are not a European common good only. And it will help to position Europe as a leader in international ocean and water restoration efforts. During the previous year's Research and Innovation Days, very important milestone for us was that the chair of the mission board, Mr. Pascal Lamy, who is together with us today, and I'm very happy to welcome him. He presented at that time the commission the mission board's starfish report. And this report, everybody agrees that it was very, very ambitious, very inspirational, which we need all of us in order to trigger and stir the energy, and also proposed a quite systematic and holistic approach to our oceans and waters recovery by 2030. Based on this mission board starfish report, the Commission services have been working very hard on an implementation plan. We had many iterations. We worked together with the board very closely for this candidate mission to become a real success. Before going into its implementation, we need, however, the green light of a group of commissioners. So this is the so-called project group of commissioners, and we had to organize our implementing plan around important criteria like research and innovation content, level of ambition, feasibility, budget involved, and so on. So this implementation plan is currently being assessed. If the project group gives its green light, the mission will enter into full implementation phase. Therefore, today's meeting is really extremely timely, and it's not only because of the potential imminent start of the mission Ocean, but also because of the need of economic recovery after COVID-19 pandemic. Our aim today is to discuss the financial and business transformations needed to achieve the restoration of marine and freshwater ecosystems and to achieve a carbon neutral, circular, and sustainable blue economy. Now, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Pascal Lamy. He doesn't need introduction, but still, I'm really tempted to give some important highlights of his career. He's the chair of the board. We're really honored to have him as a chair, but also he's director of Jacques Delors Institute. He used to be a European Commissioner for Trade under the presidency of Romano Prodi, and he served 2 times as Director General of the World Trade Organization. Currently, he is the president of the Paris Peace Forum and holds holds positions in various French, European, and global boards or advisory boards. So, Pascal, the floor is yours for introductory statement.
Thanks very much, Charlina, and thanks for outlining very clearly what this new instrument, this new venture, which, as you said, is an innovation of the next, the one that just starts, European Research and Innovation Program is about. And thanks for starting from where we all started, which is this notion that no mission is impossible, even if they may be very ambitious. So, a few words on this Starfish 2030 mission. One target, 5 legs, 17 actions. The one target, restore our ocean and waters by the 2030 horizon, what we call our hydrosphere, which comprises both marine systems and land water-based system, salted water, fresh water, the whole circuit which goes from your sink to the sea. That's the target, and we have decomposed this target as per the mission model into 5 different directions that needs to be tackled together, which is why we've used this starfish symbol, 5 legs that are totally interdependent from one another, that in a way cannot live without the others, which is the 5 directions, according to which we believe it is doable to not only stop the degradation of our hydrosphere, but clean it, restore it. You have on the first slide the 5 directions where we believe we have to go. The second slide, which you will now see, gives the sort of decomposition of what this means in the 5 legs, whether it's about decarbonizing ocean, seas, and waters, whether it's about zero pollution, whether it's about regenerating marine and water ecosystem, or whether it's about notions that need also to accompany this, such as the necessity to fill both the knowledge and emotional gap between Europeans and their hydrosphere, and, as you already said, to revamp part of the way governance at EU and member state level is done, not to forget the whole world governance systems about marine systems, which, as you know, is a very complex issue. So this is the overall objective. These are the various directions which the mission board has proposed. And I'm now answering your question on what does this mean now? What is the relevance of this mission to the post-COVID recovery? How much of business, public, private system involvement, engagement do we need? And I will give you, with the 2 next slides, which are my 2 final slides, I will give you a sense of examples of what is the precise relevance to short term. By short term, I mean actions that have to be taken to reach the 2030 signpost without any substantial technological change or revolution, things which can be done in 21, 22, if the mission is launched, of course, with the existing technologies, but which matter a lot in decarbonizing the EU blue economy, in decarbonizing the various systems, whether it's coastal systems, whether it's ships and their propulsion, whether it's aquaculture, which we know raises a series of issues about carbon emissions. It's about zero pollution, and there is a big start that can be done, or it's about starting to fill this knowledge and emotional gap. So that's the short term. Longer term, 23, 24, 25 to 2030, which is the next slide, gives a sense of examples of the scaling up of what can be started in 21, 22. Again, about decarbonizing the hydrosphere. And then you can see that the scale quite dramatically changes in order to reach the 2030 goal of not only restoring and cleaning, but also contributing to the 2030 55 carbon reduction, which, as we know, the Commission will outline in all its detail mid-July, moving from the older 40% in 2030 decarb horizon to the new one, which is 55%, entails a huge amount of transformation, the order of magnitude of which you can see on this final slide. And of course, a lot of this cannot happen without mobilizing financial resources, public finance, EU member states, private finance, global companies, local companies, plus, of course, a series of regulatory changes, which will matter a lot to influence the investment behavior of business. So, in one word, Charlina, extremely ambitious, but also extremely relevant short term and in line with this 2030 55% decarbonization, which takes the EU in the lead of addressing climate change. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Pascal. Very clear. And what I like really of the work that you guided of the mission board was the high level of ambition, because nothing less can really work to the benefit of our oceans. You said relevant. Indeed, everything that is there in the report is highly relevant. In the implementing plan, of course, for us, it was more difficult of how to streamline all this effort into feasible actions. But we work together, and I think that we are on the right path. But the ambition is there, and I love it. So we have to sustain it by the end. Now, before I give the floor to the next speaker, because we will start with introductions and then we will enter into the questions and answer session, I have to invite the audience to submit and upvote questions for the panel via Slido. So the Slido tool, so you can even I will do it now with the barcode code. So we are doing it at the same time. So when you submit your question, please indicate your name, your organization, and ask your question. You can also target a specific speaker with this question. There is live chat as well, which you can use during the session for comments and interact. But Slido is a perfect tool. So please go to Slido and upvote. So we probably need some more seconds for that. And now probably I can move to our next speaker, and this is Mrs. Claudia Monteiro de Aguiar, a member of the European Parliament and member of the European Parliament Committee on Fisheries and the European Parliament Committee on Transport and Tourism. Claudia recently made a motion for European Parliament resolution on Mission Starfish. That was last month in May, calling on the European Commission and the Member States to urgently implement ocean conservation policies to reach the zero pollution target by 2030 and to embed in the future mission the objectives proposed in the Starfish report. So a big proponent of your work, Pascal. So over to you, Claudia, for your introductory remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It was very important to hear about what Pascal said and the importance of this missions. Firstly, I think that it's important to have also a huge debate. That is why I started this mission in the European Parliament, because not even hearing the stakeholders, understanding their needs, but also having in mind what are the purpose of the Commission, I think we cannot forget the importance of the European Parliament and how can we debate hearing the positions of several member states, several political groups, and how can we better work together on this approach, and particularly on this starfish mission. I think it's essential to provide clear and straightforward information for all, not only business associations, universities, research centers, but also putting us all together, debating and understanding the priorities and not only the goals, but the priorities and what will be in the field to fulfill the objectives of this mission. Well, I think this is my first remark on this debate. Thank you for promoting it and also for giving a voice to the European Parliament on this matters. It's crucial. It's crucial to combine all the institutions, the European institutions, and putting this all together in debate for then making what citizens are expecting for us, the proposals and the actions, the concrete actions.
Thank you very much, Claudia. It is not by accident that we invited a young politician from the European Parliament, because this is the way to engage with the young generation and with society, with our citizens. Nothing can happen without the full engagement and the energy of the young generation into this exercise. This is a huge exercise, and it needs a lot of effort. And of course, we cannot sustain any action without the engagement and corporate responsibility of our businesses. The businesses, they are the active part whenever something has to fulfill a mission, and we are really in the hands and in the corporate responsibility thinking of businesses for the success of this mission. So that's why we invited Mrs. Urikera Merkler. She is the CEO of Arab Mer Group. It is an internationally operating company active in construction and environmental and water technology. She has extensive experience in developing green tech solutions. We are very often talking about green tech or nature-based solutions with a focus on water, wastewater, and renewable energy. She also represents SME and crafts businesses as the Vice President of SME United. So, Ulrike, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so thank you very much for inviting me, and it's a big honor for me to take part here in this high-level discussion. So basically, when we talk about reaching climate goals, and especially, of course, make sure that our oceans will be safe and recover again, we need to include SMEs. As we are 99.8% of all companies in Europe are SMEs, and they are basically the basis for our welfare, for creating jobs and creating growth. It is really important to include them in all measures taken. And I always say also that SMEs and of course companies are part of the solution. On one hand, they are developing innovations and innovative solutions. And on the other hand, they are the majority of all businesses. And if they are taking measures themselves, we can make sure that they are, of course, then a lot of companies are active in this, in the aspects, and are also taking measures for the green transition. And especially as I myself, my company is active in creating solutions for the environment. It is, I think, very important to make sure that more companies are focusing on green tech and also climate saving measures. And so we can really have a big impact and also create a lot of solutions.
Thank you very much, Ulrike. Indeed, if someone can judge whether something is feasible, this is the business society. So I hope that all these billions that were shown, and they were based on existing technologies by Pascal, this can be taken up by the business. Of course, we are there to help. The public authorities will have their share, but it lies on the shoulders very much on the private business. So from this point of view, there needs we need to have a conviction, genuine conviction, that will translate in corporate responsibility, engaging more and more, as you've said, companies beyond yours. And that's why I'm happy that you also have a representational function, and also to develop the smart solutions, because we need a jump, we need really a quantum leap in order to succeed. Now, after presenting the three distinguished colleagues, I would like to switch to some questions. And I have my first question that is targeted to Pascal. My question is about showcasing. And Pascal, what do you think? How can the candidate mission best showcase the transformations that are needed? It is the how and the what, and how we can really translate it into something that can immediately show to the wider public how we can achieve the preservation of our marine and freshwater ecosystems, how we can value these key assets and to become climate neutral.
I think there are two ways to do that. Which, by the way, have a lot to do with what we just heard from my two co-panelists. The first one is to start right now a number of actions, investments, projects that will ignite this sort of rocket to 2030. And together with you in the Commission, in the case of the Starfish mission, but I understand it may also be the case for other missions, we are working together on what we call lighthouse projects, which are sort of pilot projects, which are demonstrators of actions we start right now, with the intention to scale them up in terms of volume, size, speed in the future. Let me give a few examples. We need to green coastal tourism. This is not rocket science, but it needs a lot of investment, and notably in refitting the energy systems in the coastal areas in Europe, starting, of course, with the Mediterranean region. Another example is clean ships. There are already quite a lot of available technologies to start cleaning coastal navigation, mid-size ships that are quite a lot of sea transport within the European Union. And another area is the whole area of water and waste treatment, where we know we need both new investments and new technologies to improve the efficiency of the way we treat waste and water before they go to the sea or to rivers. So that's the first answer. Create demonstrators that show that this can be done if what we start with is then scaled up. The second part of the answer has to do with what we heard from Claudia Monteiro de Aguiar, which is that we need to involve the public. We need to involve citizens. Banking on what we have realized in putting up our mission plans with a series of interaction with various stakeholders and citizens in a public, transparent way in a large number of our 27 member states. And the good news is, A, that people want to do something. Most of the interactions we had were, okay, we've understood we have a problem. Okay, fine. But what can I do? What is my contribution to getting this done? Because people feel instinctively that doing this by 2030 will necessitate a huge effort where everybody is involved. And this sort of goodwill is something we can bank on, including in involving them in the running of these lighthouse projects. And of course, the good news, and I thank very much Claudia for that, is that following a number of these public interactions, members of the European Parliament become interested. No, they see their own role. They see how sometimes they can shine a bit more vis-à-vis their constituency than in the past, notably in places or countries where the notion that water systems are very important is there. And it is true in the Baltic area, it is true in the Mediterranean area, it is true in the Atlantic area, it is true in a number of countries who are landlocked, but where lakes and rivers play a big role in the ecosystems. And this we will keep doing, including a big event which we are co-organizing with the European Commission on the 6th of October, and you can note this date on your diaries, which will be about the Rhone and the Mediterranean, again, to showcase that if you put a plastic bottle on the top of the Mont Blanc, the odds that it's going to float somewhere in the Mediterranean 5 years after are around 66%. This is the sort of issue which we need to address. So both a wide involvement of investors, big, small, quite a lot of new tech and innovation. And for this, the idea we have is that each of the mission should benefit from a specific 1 billion euro for the duration of the next research and innovation program, the one that started this year, plus, of course, public involvement. In a way, we have to reflect, to translate the holistic, all-encompassing nature of what the missions propose with an all-encompassing gathering of stakeholders, public authorities, private authorities. This can only work if we do it together. And we believe that this will be a big contribution to keeping the European Union as a leader in the climate and biodiversity challenges the whole planet has to cope in the years to come.
Thank you very much, Pascal, as always, with a lot of ideas, roles for the citizens, quite concrete. Start right now with demonstration to show that it can happen. And thank you for this announcement also for the 6th of October, well noted. You already gave some thematic pilots that can play this showcase role. But the next question is how we are going to guarantee the private and public investment flowing there. Do you have a smart idea of how we can ensure that?
Well, yes, and we factored this, of course, in the mission board and what you have been working on, which is these implementation programs, which you mentioned, are devoting quite a lot of programmation to this because there are various financial instruments available at EU level and at member state level, and we need some public money to incentivize these investments. But in the two slides which I showed and which we can come back to if necessary, I've chosen examples of areas where investing 10, 50, 100 billion is a no-brainer. Let me go back to the example, for instance, of waste and water treatment. There is roughly a necessity for between now and 2030 to invest roughly 200 billion more within the European Union to upscale our system of waste and water treatment to a level that reaches the zero pollution objective, which is that, by that time, we have to stop feeding our hydrosphere with the sort of degrading content which we've been doing so far in an accelerated way, which means that A, we have to stop, then we have to regenerate, and then we have to reverse, which is let the biosystem, which, as we know, is the big characteristic of water systems, where we all come from that, as we know. Let them retake their role, and this again involves, for instance, a huge effort on effluents from agriculture, effluents from industry, effluents from household, and there's plenty of jobs that can be created this way, which is where the connection between the first steps of implementation of the Starfish mission and the next generation program, which the Commission is now vetting so that the 750 billion that were agreed last year by the European Council can now go to action in the member states is done. So there is a sort of clear connection, I think, which publicly needs to be shined, outlined, spotlighted between this long-term horizon, which is essential for the survival of our biohydrosphere systems, and the short-term post-COVID recovery necessities.
Thank you very much, Pascal. Indeed, and I'm going to use also my experience from that I had in DG Regio that deals with the cohesion fund, which pours a lot of money exactly in what you're saying in making our wastewater treatment systems fit for purpose. So there is more money that is necessary to go and flow into this objective. We have the new generation EU funds, very innovative funding. So public accompanying accompanying private investment is there. We also need the right incentives. So we have the tools and we have to use them fully. Now I will go with my questions to Claudia. Claudia, if you can fit in 2 minutes. My first question is something that is very close to the heart of the European Parliament. Regulators and policymakers. What can we do in order to facilitate the transformations that we are aiming at, to remove market entry blockages and any barriers on the way?
Just give me 30 seconds to answer to Pascal, just to underline the importance of members from the European Parliament to bringing these questions out and this discussion into the Parliament, not only to shine in our constituencies, because I think that that's a kind of populism to shine on the constituencies. I think it's better to deliver something, and this is the main goal of at least my purpose on politics. Just to complement this question, it's also important to put this into debate, and also because I come from Madeira Island, an outermost region, and Portugal has two outermost regions. So being an island, being in outermost regions, of course that this kind of missions is very important, and it's crucial to the development of our small economies too. So that is one more added value to the discussion and also to the implementation of the actions. But going to the question, I think it's crucial to provide clear and straightforward information to all, to engage all. It's crucial to know the commitments of the missions, what kind of means are available to, including, of course, the financial ones. And in this approach, I think it's essential to explain the advantages of each of the pillars of the mission, particularly the Starfish mission. It is crucial not leaving any sector behind, including those that are most dependent on the ocean. A barrier that private actions have highlighted is bureaucracy. So support access processes must be simple and easy to understand. As a concrete example, the fisheries sector, we know that plays a crucial role in preserving marine biodiversity. Still, it's often faced with policies that it does not understand, with rules that it doesn't not understand. And in defining these policies, the sector must be involved. So artisanal, small-scale fishers, often with few resources, they do not know how to use public financial support. It's difficult for them to interpret at national level. And if we speak about the EU regulations, it's very difficult for them. So there is a need of investment also in the literacy of those who work in the all blue economy. So I would say that a joint approach, bearing in mind that only the participation of everyone, as I said in the beginning, will be and will construct this environmental and economic transformation that I think all of we want to be achieved.
Yeah, thank you very much, Claudia. Indeed, simplification is one of our constant efforts, and reaching out to the sector, engaging them, especially the ones that have to implement our policies and can benefit from our policies, is crucial. But I would like you to also give a short answer to a question of how this investment that will flow from private and public sources, how we can ensure that it will create sustainable local jobs and deliver value for both sides, for investors and for society along the way.
Yeah, okay. I think that my answer to this question is very much aligned with the first one, what I said previously. But investments, in my perspective or our perspective, must be public and private. And in this balance, we guarantee that there will be sufficient resources to achieve the mission's objectives. And in addition, economic agents working in the blue economy are not aware that only the recovery of marine ecosystems will allow them to maintain jobs and their income. But it is also essential for the legislator to bear in mind that there is a mutual benefit, that no agent by itself is harmful to the environment. So in this way, only once again, a straight dialogue with all these agents about the mission's objectives, its advantages, the new opportunities that they can bring, resources, and of course, what kind of jobs, what kind of sustainable jobs are we talking about? However, if these objectives, as I said previously, are not explained, if their involvement is not so we will not break this resistance if there is no discussion, no involvement, and the mission, I think, if this doesn't happen, will not reach its goal. So I believe it's important to reconvert traditional jobs, create new jobs, and create jobs that can be intersectoral between them. So this mission is above all, I think so, a huge opportunity for this dialogue between all the agents, trying to foresee what kind of opportunities, what kind of new jobs, and how can we do this transition involving everyone in this mission.
Thank you very much. So, because I would like really to give space for some of the questions from the public, Ulrike, for 2 minutes, and I put together the two questions. So, for business, always the hard job. How do you see the path of key innovations making their way to the financing needed for these projects, and how we can make sure that we attract startups in this area? Please go short.
Yeah, so basically I would say we need the 4I strategy. So the first I is innovation. Of course, innovation is the key, and we have already a lot of innovative products available. But we have to make sure that especially SMEs can create more innovations. And there, we have heard it already, we need to simplify the programs, because we always have to consider that SMEs are, they have only a few number of employees, and they cannot manage really they don't have the departments to manage the difficult programs. So in this case, of course, we need also to make sure that we foster cooperation. So cooperation with the academic, but also with research institutes, and cooperation between the companies, and to exchange experiences, and of course, to create together more innovations. And the second I is investment. Of course, we need the financing for the innovations. We need investments, we need public and private investments. And we also have to make sure that we have demonstration and pilot projects where innovations can be tested. Additionally, I think that especially governments and public institutions, they have a first mover role. So they have to go ahead and really invest in new technologies. And of course, we need to reduce red tape so that it is easier also to have access to financial capacity for the companies. And so therefore, we then need also the third I, which stands for information. It has to be, actually the information has to be spread also in the private sector, but also, of course, for companies. So all individuals need the information, what technologies, what products, what ideas are actually on the market, and then they can use it. We therefore
Ulrike, we need really 30 seconds to round up.
And then I come to the fourth I, it is internationalization. We have to make sure that European technologies can be brought to other regions, to other markets, and to be there successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We don't have time for the questions, but we will take them appropriately. Pascal, over to you. The honor is yours to close the session in 1 minute.
Thanks. Thanks very much, Charlina. I just want to go back in conclusion to where you started from. which is the very innovative characteristic of these missions, which are about passion. The reality is that, and that's what we've discovered in during the 2 years we've been working to build up these programs, which the Commission will now have to decide on. And we understand this should happen around mid-July, so that the first steps, what we call lighthouses, can be put together already for 21 and 22. I think the main lesson is that given the ambition we need to have to decarb our EU economy in 2050, meaning minus 55 in 2030, there is no way this can be done without involving a lot of people, a lot of actors, a lot of stakeholders. And what missions are about is to provide them with a sort of common sense of passion, a common sense that we need to do that, because otherwise we won't reach the sort of climate change objective remaining within the 1.5% of the Paris Agreement. We need a common understanding of how important it is, and I think this is on the way. And when you see the importance of environmental biodiversity and climate issue in the European Parliament agenda or in the Commission agenda with the Green Deal, I think this is done. What remains to be done is to ignite the passion to do it. And I think missions are very much about this. And I hope that the Commission will be up to the challenge, both in terms of size, in terms of resources, including in the research and innovation program, to help us all embarking on this formidable venture. But again, it can be done. And I think what we've tabled, and I'm also speaking for the other 4 missions on cancer, on clean cities, on climate adaptation, and on soils, I think this is a major turning point in the way the European Union can tackle these challenges.
Thank you very much, Pascal. And thank you for the very interesting discussion. All the best. And thanks to the participants as well. Bye bye.